Okay.
system, right, where companies compete with one another to try to make the most money. There's really nothing wrong with that. But you have to have a certain set of game rules, right? And in my opinion, right now we have too few game rules. So right now, right? Let me give you an example. This is going to be very lefty, and you're very much allowed to disagree with me and get into a huge fight with me right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Go
say
on.
some lefty shit right now, okay?
Go on.
We have rules. We have rules in Norway that you're not allowed to have child labor, right?
Okay.
But we don't have rules in Norway that you're not allowed to buy things made by child labor. How the fuck does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does not.
It doesn't, because we made a rule, no child labor, because that's the right thing to do. But then essentially what our law says is, but no, child labor is fine as long as you don't do it within our borders. What the flying shit do they mean by that? Like that angers me so much is rules like that. Like we have as a society agreed that we can't let child labor be a part of Norway. But then we let Norwegian companies travel to Bangladesh, perform child labor, and then bring the products back to Norway and buy them.
Right.
Like we're literally just committing child labor, but with like a small little plane trip in between.
But
That's absolutely terrible.
but you're also talking about Norwegian law, right? So
Hmm.
it would be way harder for Norwegian law to enforce that elsewhere, right?
It
So
would. It would
so
be very hard, but
yeah,
that's money I'm willing to spend. Like if we would have to spend, a lot of money trying to save kids from child labor, that's money well spent saving kids from child labor.
but even if, like but child labor, like what do you mean? Do you mean child just working
Sweatshops in
and
sweatshops in Asia.
okay? I know close to nothing about this except like some general concepts, right? So are you talking
Hmm.
about paid, unpaid, you know,
I'm
uh
talking about perfectly
okay.
paid child labor,
Okay.
because the fact that it's paid doesn't matter. The
Doesn't it
fact that
though?
it's paid doesn't matter for the same reason that having sex with a 14-year-old, it doesn't matter if the person agreed to it or not. If you're, a 30-year-old man,
No, but if it's paid or
because the
not, because
whole
if it's not
basis.
paid, then it's slavery, right? Like by that
No, but it's
definition.
it's it's slavery. It's slavery either way. Just like it's rape either way. If the 13-year-old agreed to it or not, it's still rape, and it's still slavery if they agreed to it or not. Because the whole basis of our judicial system is that before you're 18, you're not capable of giving consent. And so you're not capable of consenting to working in a clothes factory before you're 18.
Right. But even here, people are working who are under 18.
Yes. So or we set the rules to, like, I think it's 14 for some jobs, and then the more difficult and dangerous the job, we set it higher, right? So
Right.
let's
Okay.
just set it at
Correct.
14 as the cutoff. We've essentially decided that you're not capable of consenting to a job before you're 14.
Okay.
And so it doesn't matter if it's paid or not. If an 8-year-old is working in Bangladesh, it's slavery even if they're paid. Because the whole point of slavery is that, or at least not the whole point of slavery, one of the concepts is someone needs, or you can't rationally sell yourself into slavery.
Okay.
That's not something that you can do. And so having someone perform child labor, even if they think that they agree with it, and even if they accept money for it, since because of their age, we can't be sure that they actually gave, you know, considered consent.
Yeah, I see your point. But it's still better to it's still like I still think that it's kind of different if you're paid or not.
Well, it's better if they're paid, but it
Yeah.
doesn't make it anything less slavery. Like it's certainly better. I mean, it's better even if it was slavery. It's better if you treat your slaves good, but it's still fucking slavery, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think the reason I hate liberals is they think that like making like anti-child labor social media campaigns is going to change anything.
Yeah,
Or it
and
might change something in the next 200 years, but I'm not willing to wait that long. I want a law tomorrow that says, and I quote, "You're not allowed to sell any product, no, sorry, you're not allowed to buy or sell or profit from any product in Norway that has in any way, shape, or form been created by child labor, even if that child labor was on the other side of the world." That I want that law tomorrow. I'm not willing to wait, 200 years for Bangladesh to pass its own anti-child labor laws, because that's going to take a lot of time. And I can't even blame them, because obviously they think that it's saving their economy and saving them from being from their economy from doing worse, which seems reasonable from their point of view. But if we in Norway have determined that we don't want child labor, then we have to apply that rule consistently, and we're not. We're not applying it consistently. We're essentially saying, you can do child labor, just don't do it where I can see it. I just want you to pretend. I want you to pretend that you're not doing it. So please do it somewhere where I can't even see it. That's literally what we're saying.
Right. So we're kind of claiming the moral high ground, but still getting the
Yeah.
benefits of child labor.
Yes.
Would you
And
say
then
that's a fair
liberals
statement?
think that making a social media campaign, being angry, like hashtag boycott Hannes och Mauritz, woo, like that, they think that's going to change anything.
Right, right. You
And
know, I
not to spoil their fun, but it's not going to change anything in the next, 100 years. Maybe after that, finally they'll get some good labor laws in like Bangladesh and India and Pakistan, but it's going to take a long while.
you
I
know,
mean, just think how long it took us. Like, it took us a long ass time from the Industrial Revolution till we got child labor laws in Europe. It took us hundreds of years. So if it takes Asia hundreds of years as well, which, I mean, it might. There's nothing. I mean, they're not any worse than us. It'll probably take them just as long. Then we need to step up and refuse our Western money to go into child labor. Because remember, Bangladeshi child laborers aren't producing products for Bangladesh people. They're producing products like Norwegian kids wearing t-shirts and shit. That's what they're making.
yes, for us.
Yeah, for us. And that's absolutely terrible. Like, we're just hiding it on the other side of the world, like some old English imperialists.